Much like I have in several other time points in this project, I am calling a bit of an audible. I am sort of foregoing my initial strategy and making an adjustment. Um, this month, my goal was to get the first draft of the next short story written. I have today decided to table that for now and go back and finish up editing a different short story instead. Um, the main reason for this is simply that I'm a bit tapped out creatively. Um, since basically December, I've been working on new content, new these early drafts for these stories here, and it's kind of just tapped me out. I've basically just I think kind of run to a point where I need to switch it up. The writing process is unfortunately one where you're kind of at the mercy of this subconscious thing in your brain. I don't know what it is. I don't know how to explain it, but um, you're at the kind of this mercy of these seemingly unseen forces in your mind. It sounds mystical, but it's very very strange how your subconscious works. But you're basically at the mercy of how your mind works. And I tend to find that I go through periods of time where I am on fire creatively with new stuff, where I can go for a real good amount of time. I mean, for the most part, since like December, most of December, um, all the way through what January, February here. So coming on, 2.5 months, something like that, of being just on fire and being able to create new stuff. It's awesome. It feels great. Um, but you tap out. It wears you out. It exhausts your energy, and there comes a point when your brain needs to switch, when you have to work on something else. Um, and for me, that's often the opposite. So if I'm creating work, I like to switch it up and then work on editing instead, kind of the other side. And that's often why I think people, when they do long form projects like novels, tend to get burnt out at certain stages, is because you're doing one or the other. You spend, a year doing, a first draft or whatever, or 6 months, what have you. And then you spend well over probably a year doing edits, right? You spend a year, two, several years doing edits, and you're not exercising the new creative, create the new content side of your brain. It's a very, very tricky thing. And I think that tends to wear people out because you spend so much time doing on one or the other. So for me, this was simply me getting to the point where I realized, yeah, I'm not getting any real return here. My output these past few days on this short story has been very minimal. What I was able to write out. I was talking last week about how I was feeling very exhausted and very tapped out. Um, I think it's what it is. I think it's just the brain's getting tired. It's tired of working on the new stuff. It wants to go back and revise the other stuff. Different part of the brain gets activated, um, and with it, you're able to switch and kind of feel re-energized. Um, and so, what you're seeing on the screen here is simply that. That's exactly what you are witnessing. You are seeing me go through and basically make a bunch of edits. These edits basically right now are basically repeated words. I have two screens up. One on the right is a processor I use where I basically go through and it'll tell me basically, where repeated phrases and some words are and all that stuff. And I'm basically looking through my Word document on the left and making adjustments, realizing, where I repeat certain phrases and certain words over and over again and adjusting that, just making changes. Um, that's a pretty refined step in the process. Usually that's towards the end because I am pretty far with this particular story already. I've made some edits already. Already had a critique group take a look at it, so it's much further in the process. And now I'm at the point now where I'm just making edits to um, that particular story, just looking for repeated words and phrases. Um, hoping that I anticipate basically that this might be done sometime in early March. This whole process, and then what I'll do is I'll probably go through and I'll probably do an edit on another story that I've already done a first draft on, and then go back and finish the first draft of this one. I figure month and a half or so, whatever that is, that should be enough time to kind of rejuvenate the mind and go back to the project kind of with with a set of fresh eyes. At least that's a hope. That is the hope, at least. Definitely proud of what I achieved so far, but it just wears on you. It wears on you, and you got to be willing to make the adjustment, or you got to get out. It's one of the, it's always one or the other. You got to you either adjust or you kind of get lost. Um, and for me, it's all about adjusting. All about adjusting. There are time periods to push through, time periods to suck it up and get this thing done for sure. But the luxury of doing a short story project is that I get to do both. That's really what the luxury of this whole project is I can kind of do both. I can go back and forth with different stories here, and at the end of the day, they all get done. They will all end up getting done. But just kind of ping pong, I can kind of ping pong at times back and forth, which is a rare luxury in this process for sure. And so as I kind of go forward here, I'm hoping that um, this will get me closer to getting at least one story done, completed, and ready to be submitted. That way, I can that way I can finally, get everything out to you all, and you can finally maybe see some of my work here. Um, I'm not sure what I'll be submitting to. I'm thinking probably some sort of online magazine for the story here. Just something where I can just direct people like a link to it. I think that'll be the best thing. We'll see. We'll see. Like I said, springtime, so submissions are abound. Usually for most magazines, usually that's when they look for submissions. So fingers crossed, I'll find a home for this story when it's done. But one last full week of February here, so probably I don't know, 2 weeks maybe. We'll keep that as like kind of the goal. 2 weeks get done, and we'll see what happens.